Hi there and welcome back to another book review. Today I'm talking about Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austin. Interesting Facts About Space was actually my book of the month pick, so if you're interested in getting your own book of the month box, then you can find a link down in the description below. If you're thinking about checking out Interesting Facts About Space yourself, you don't have to worry about spoilers in this video. The first half of my videos are always spoiler free, so you can see if this book is your cup of tea. After a quick summary and a basic review, I'll give a clear spoiler warning before moving into a description of the book and then a deep dive into my thoughts and opinions on the book. Here are some content warnings for Interesting Facts About Space. This book follows a disabled queer woman named Enid as she attempts to grapple with her overwhelming paranoia and mental illness. At the start of the book, she's approached by Polly, who believes that Enid has been sleeping with her wife. As the book goes on, Enid has to juggle this new conflict with Polly and Jean, with a growing paranoia that her bald neighbor across the hall is stalking her. Before I give my rating for Interesting Facts About Space, let's do a quick run through of my rating system. 1 star means that I could not finish the book. 2 stars means that I struggled to finish it, but I did. 3 stars means I liked it, it was worth reading. 4 stars means I really enjoyed it and I would recommend it to a friend. And 5 stars, which is my highest honor, means I would read the book again. I gave Interesting Facts About Space a 5-star rating because I absolutely adored it and I 100% would read it again. It's one of the more unique books that I've read lately, and it actually made me laugh out loud while I was reading it, which does not happen often. The writing quality is top-notch, the characters are nuanced and interesting, and our main character manages to explore some pretty dark thoughts while still being relatable and easy to consume. Now that you have my rating, we are entering the spoiler-filled part of this video. If you think Interesting Facts About Space sounds like your cup of tea, now is a great time to pause the video, go read it, and then come back so you can engage with my thoughts and opinions. If you like the sound of this book but you don't want to read it yourself, you don't have to worry because I will give you the full rundown. Interesting Facts About Space starts with Enid at the grocery store, where she is listening to a true crime podcast. As she is exiting the store, a man runs into her, which happens pretty often because she's deaf in one ear and can't hear when people are saying "excuse me" or asking to get by. Enid is making a cake for her half-sister's birthday party when she hears from a woman named Polly, who asks Enid if she has been sleeping with a woman named Jean. Enid admits that she is and finds out that Jean is Polly's wife. Polly comes over to Enid's apartment so the two can talk about the issue, and while she's there, they end up drinking craft beer and talking and having a lot of fun together. As they get more drunk, Polly ends up doing Enid's makeup and they end up showering together in a platonic way. Polly leaves the next morning, thanking Enid for being so kind. Right around this time, Enid learns about a new neighbor across the hall who is a bald man. Enid is suspicious of him because she's been having feelings lately that someone has been inside her apartment. Throughout the book, anytime Enid is upset, she calls her mom to share some interesting facts about space. Her mom, who struggles with depression, also seems to benefit from these conversations. Edna, Enid's half-sister, is having a baby shower and has invited Enid to come along. Enid has kind of a tense relationship with her half-sisters because Enid's father left when she was young to go off and start a new family. Because of this, Enid doesn't really feel like she fits in with her half-sisters, and she often ends up towing the line of social norms when they're together. At work, Enid works with data related to space stuff, but her current project is not going super well. Anytime she tries to search for related terms within her database, nothing will come up. She works with her best friend, a gay guy named Vin, who is constantly worrying about her. Though Enid tries not to see the same woman too often, she ends up seeing Polly again and again. They are definitely interested in one another, but Enid has some problems with commitment. And on top of that, she is still very paranoid about her next door neighbor. And she starts to develop a very real fear of bald men. This paranoia leads her to do things like crawling out of her window instead of just using the door to her apartment so that she can avoid a run-in with this neighbor. And though there's a man at work who can help her out with her project, she refuses to talk to him because he's bald. Her paranoia about the stalker, strained relationship with her half-sisters, the trouble at work, mistreatment from strangers due to her disability, and difficulties managing her insecurities around Polly all start to add up. When Polly and Enid are out together on a date one day, they see Gina, who is the woman Enid's father left her mother for. Gina is pretty confused by Polly and Enid and keeps asking them if they're friends. Polly makes it very clear that they are out on a date together and interested in one another romantically. When Gina is underhandedly homophobic about this, Polly calls her out on it. These combined pressures lead Enid into something of a spiral. During this spiral, she breaks things off with Polly and says some pretty mean stuff to her mom. Things are particularly bleak for her when she's at her therapist's office watching some of her old YouTube videos. People leave fire emojis under these videos, claiming that Enid set the school on fire and killed someone. It seems like everything is going really bad for Enid when she starts to think that she may have accidentally killed someone when she was in high school and just suppressed the memory of it. But when she talks to her mom about it, her mom reveals that she had nothing to do with the fire at the school and that it was caused by electrical components. It was just that somebody who bullied Enid at school claimed it was her. Enid's therapist helps her to work through some of her paranoia and fear around bald men. And when Enid's mom calls Gina to confront her about the homophobic things that were said, all of the women talk about their experience with Enid's dad, and they all admit that it wasn't perfect for any of them, and they're able to connect over this. At the end of the story, we learn that it was Vin, Enid's friend, who ended up going into his apartments all those times and really setting off a lot of her fear. The bald man was going up to her door, but it was just to ask her to turn down her music. Enid ends up making up with Polly, and the two are able to get back together. Enid is even able to finally talk to the bald man at work, even though she can't look directly at him. Alright, so now that you know everything that happens in Interesting Facts About Space, it's time to go into some of my thoughts, opinions, praises, and criticisms for this book. My absolute favorite thing about this one is just that it was laugh out loud funny. When I was reading, there were multiple times when I'd have to make my partner pause his show so that I could read a passage out loud to him and show him just how funny this book was. It really does an excellent job of marrying complex, kind of dark subjects with just hilariously awkward encounters. I think the humor is really what takes this book to the next level and keeps it from just becoming a depressing, dreary drag. Enid, our main character, is so lifelike and complex. Because this book is first person, we really get to dive into her thoughts and see how she thinks and how she views the world. I also love the kind of queer representation that we find in this book, where it's really everyday, commonplace, and not just a side character for the sake of diversity. We get to see queerness in everyday life. For example, with Enid thinking about how she's less likely to get murdered while using a dating website simply because she only dates women. And the interaction between Polly, Gina, and Enid shows us how underhanded and subtle homophobia can be, and how it can be harmful just like overt hate. Mental illness also is obviously a very big theme in this one. Obviously, we see Enid struggle with intrusive thoughts, paranoia, anxiety, and a general difficulty to interact with other people. But we also see depression through her mom and attachment issues through Vin. It's interesting to see how all of these mental illnesses can affect people, and especially how they come into play when all of these people have relationships with one another. For example, Enid often goes over to her mom's house to clean up when her mom is in a depressive episode, even as Enid is struggling to manage her own mental illness. And finally, I appreciate just how straightforwardly weird Interesting Facts About Space really was. It explored the idea of a parasite, of something living inside of every person that just wants them to do the wrong thing. We get to see Enid, who is our weird character, talking to her perfect half-sisters who, near the end of the book, admit that they also feel like they have little parasites inside of them as well. All in all, I think Interesting Facts About Space really helped me start 2024 off on the right foot. I think this is the first time I have given a book a 5-star rating in a book review on my channel, so it's definitely something to celebrate. It just has excellent writing and manages to address a lot of deep issues without being too boring or depressing. As always, you can follow me on Goodreads or Instagram to see what I'm reading now and what I plan to read next. If you're interested in any of the books I mentioned in this video, you can find some links to them in the description below. Thanks for watching.